people hear the name Daniel Day-Lewis, this scene often comes to mind first. It lingers in memory whether you watched it in stunned silence, nervously laughed, or felt a shiver run down your spine. Paul Thomas Anderson's epic about oil, ambition, and American greed is widely regarded as one of the defining films of the 21st century. At its center stands Daniel Plainview, a silver-tongued prospector who builds his empire through drilling, deception, and relentless determination. He is defined by dominance, not love or loyalty. The film reaches its dramatic peak in a final confrontation with preacher Eli Sunday, crystallized in the infamous milkshake metaphor. But why a milkshake? How does something so simple come to symbolize capitalism, greed, and total destruction? This video examines the scene's literal meaning, its symbolic weight, and its significance for both characters, revealing how it became one of cinema's most quoted lines. Their feud over land rights spans decades, culminating in a tense showdown at Plainview's private bowling alley. The two men mirror each other in some ways but differ profoundly. Eli Sunday masks ambition behind sermons, while Plainview cloaks his greed beneath promises of opportunity. Both seek control over the same community, creating a tug-of-war between money and religion. By the final scene, the balance of power has shifted. Plainview is wealthy, isolated, and drunk. Eli, once a commanding preacher, arrives at Plainview's estate desperate for financial recovery under the guise of a business deal involving the Bandy property. Unaware that Plainview has already drained the nearby wells, Eli walks into what will quickly become an execution rather than negotiation. The setting itself is crucial. The bowling alley in Plainview's mansion becomes a private kingdom rather than a casual game space. The clatter of pins mirrors the psychological battle unfolding. Eli struggles to assert himself, while Plainview lounges in the shadows, lethal even in his intoxication. The power dynamic is obvious. Plainview sprawls across the room, confident and mocking. Eli is humiliated, scrambling for words. Their confrontation unfolds through dialogue and degradation before tipping into physicality, creating an atmosphere that becomes part theater and part nightmare. Plainview's milkshake analogy is, at its core, a crude lesson in oil economics. He explains that if a nearby pipeline has already tapped the same reservoir, Eli's land holds no value. Then comes the straw that reaches across the room, symbolizing Plainview's ability to extract resources without ever stepping foot on Eli's property. The milkshake represents the wealth-driving Plainview's oil empire, or black gold. Though the line sounds absurd, but the metaphor captures the ruthless efficiency of resource extraction. It extends beyond oil. It is predatory capitalism in its purest form. The milkshake stands for money, power, and the illusion of opportunity. Plainview embodies a worldview where defeating competitors is the only route to success. The scene also emphasizes the irony of Plainview's playful-sounding analogy. A seemingly innocent image conceals exploitation, yet the reality is harsh. It reflects the dark side of American industry and the monopolistic greed of the oil boom. Interestingly enough, Anderson did not invent the milkshake metaphor. It originates from the Teapot Dome scandal, one of the most notorious political corruption cases. Senator Albert Fall, accused of taking bribes for oil drainage rights, explained, "If you have a milkshake and I have a milkshake, and my straw reaches across the room, I can drink your milkshake." But in this case, Fall was explaining that if an oil well was tapped by someone else's pipeline, that person could legally extract oil from someone else's land under certain leases or deals. It illustrated how legal arrangements let one party benefit from another's resources, essentially exploiting rights across property lines. Anderson borrowed the line, transforming dry legal language into one of the film's most memorable cinematic moments. Throughout most of the film, Plainview hides his ruthless ambition behind a polished persona. He presents himself as a family man promising prosperity to communities, linking his success to the greater good. In the bowling alley, however, the mask drops. The milkshake monologue exposes his true self. Day-Lewis's performance drives this revelation. The slurping, chewing, and spit-out delivery makes the metaphor both absurd and terrifying. In that drunken, unholy sermon, Plainview stops behaving human. Greed takes physical form. The milkshake metaphor is not just about oil. Plainview already has more wealth than he could ever need. His target is Eli's destruction. After Eli publicly challenges him, slaps him in church, and asserts moral superiority, Plainview seeks to crush every shred of his pride. Victory alone is insufficient. He must humiliate, degrade, and dominate. "I Drink Your Milkshake" has transcended the film. It appears in memes, sports arenas, political jokes, and online culture. The absurdity of a Victorian oil baron describing corporate power in playground terms makes it memorable. Out of context, it's hilarious. Within the film, it's terrifying. Few scenes manage to be both a meme and a cinematic milestone, yet this one does. Beneath the humor lies masterful filmmaking. Anderson condenses Plainview's worldview into a single absurd image. Precision matters more than decorative language. Day-Lewis elevates the scene further. His dedication, erratic delivery, and drunken intensity turn a peculiar line into cinematic legend. The milkshake scene captures the central themes of the film: power, greed, and the emptiness of success. What begins as a business metaphor evolves into a personal vendetta. It resonates on every level: poetic, disturbing, and darkly humorous, depicting a man who has consumed everything around him and now faces total isolation. Ultimately, the milkshake did not belong solely to Eli Sunday. It belonged to everyone, and Plainview drank it all. If you've made it this far into the video, leave a like. It helps the channel grow and motivates me to create more content like this.